There was something different about Keely Hodgkinson in Birmingham. She didn't look desperate, she didn't look nervous, and she certainly didn't look like an athlete trying to prove she belongs at the top. She looked like someone who already knew exactly what was coming. And with one controlled 800-meter race, Keely may have just sent a warning to every major contender waiting for her in Birmingham, including Femke ball. Because this wasn't simply about winning a heat, it was about making a statement, and the most dangerous part, Keely didn't even need to go all out to do it. The 2026 European Athletics Championships had barely begun, but the women's 800 meters was already being called one of the races of the entire championship, and for good reason. Standing in the field were some of Europe's fastest middle distance runners. Audrey Werro had already shown that she could run at an extraordinary level. Femke ball had brought her explosive speed from the 400-meter hurdles into the 800, and then there was Keely Hodgkinson, the Olympic champion, the reigning European champion, and one of the most feared 800-meter runners on the planet. But Keely wasn't entering Birmingham simply to participate. She was there to defend her title and potentially make history. If she wins again, Hodgkinson would become the first British woman to win 3 European Championship titles in the same individual event. So when she stepped onto the track at Alexander Stadium, there was enormous pressure surrounding her, but the way she handled it was almost frighteningly calm. Keely entered her 800-meter heat knowing that she didn't need to reveal everything. She didn't need a world-class time. She didn't need to destroy the field. She simply needed to qualify, and that's exactly what she did. From the opening meters, Hodgkinson positioned herself intelligently. Rather than wasting energy fighting for every inch, she stayed composed and allowed the race to develop around her. This is one of the biggest differences between a developing athlete and a championship veteran. You don't always need to run faster. Sometimes you just need to run smarter. And Keely looked completely in control. As the race progressed, she gradually moved into position. No panic, no unnecessary acceleration. Just rhythm, just control. Then came the moment where the rest of the field realized that the Olympic champion was ready. Keely began to separate herself, and once she found another gear, the race was essentially decided. She crossed the finish line in 1 minute 57 seconds and 28 milliseconds, a comfortable victory. And more importantly, the fastest qualifying time of the women's 800-meter first round. Think about that for a second. This was not a championship final. This wasn't even a semifinal, it was simply the opening round. Yet Keely still produced the fastest time of the entire field. And that is where the story becomes interesting. Because Keely wasn't trying to show the world everything she had. She was showing them just enough. Her performance was a reminder that when the championship gets serious, she still has another level available. And that could be a problem for everyone else. Especially because the biggest threat isn't just one athlete. Audrey Werro has already proven she can produce extraordinary times. The Swiss star stunned the athletics world with a 1 minute 53 seconds and 98 milliseconds run in Stockholm earlier this season, becoming the third fastest woman in history over 800 meters. That kind of performance changes the entire conversation. Then there's Femke ball. Known primarily as one of the greatest 400-meter hurdlers of her generation, Femke has increasingly shown that her speed can translate into a dangerous 800-meter weapon. She doesn't need to dominate the first lap. She can stay within striking distance. And when the final 200 meters arrive, her raw speed becomes extremely dangerous. That is why this championship could produce something special. 3 completely different athletes, 3 completely different strengths, and 1 championship title. But Keely has something neither of them can simply manufacture overnight: championship experience. She knows what it feels like to walk into a major final with the entire country watching. She knows how quickly an 800-meter race can change. And she knows that the final 100 meters are where medals are won. That experience could become priceless on Friday night. Because the opening round is one thing, the semifinal is another, but the final? That's where everything changes. The pace will be faster, the pressure will be heavier, and every athlete will know exactly who is standing beside them. Keely will know where Werro is. Werro will know where Keely is. And Femke will know that if she stays close enough, she has the speed to attack late That is what makes this race so fascinating. And maybe that's why Keely's 1 minute 57 seconds and 28 milliseconds feels bigger than the number itself. She didn't just qualify, she established herself as the athlete everyone has to beat. She showed that the Olympic champion is healthy. She showed that the rhythm is there. And she showed that she doesn't need to run at maximum intensity to control a championship race. Now imagine what happens when she actually does. Imagine the bell rings 800 meters. The crowd rises. Werro is there, Femke is there, Keely is there. And suddenly, all the controlled running from the heats means nothing, because now there are only 200 meters left. This is where Keely has built her reputation. This is where her finishing speed becomes terrifying. And this is where one small mistake can cost an athlete an entire championship. Keely isn't chasing a medal anymore. She's chasing history. A third European title in front of a home crowd. And after the way she opened her campaign, she has made one thing very clear. She isn't coming to Birmingham hoping to survive, she's coming to win. And if the opening heat was supposed to be a quiet introduction to the championship, it may have been anything but quiet because Keely Hodgkinson just delivered the fastest opening round performance. She did it without appearing to panic, without looking exhausted, and without revealing everything in her arsenal. Now the question isn't whether Keely is ready. The question is whether anyone else is ready for the version of Keely we're going to see when the championship reaches its biggest moment. Femke has the speed, Werro has the times, but Keely has the experience, the confidence, and the championship mentality. And on Friday night, all three will collide. One race, 800 meters, one European title, and potentially one of the greatest women's 800-meter showdowns we've seen in years. Keely has already sent the warning. Now it's time to find out who can answer it. And now, the real battle begins. Keely Hodgkinson has sent her warning, but the biggest test is still ahead. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with another athletics fan, and subscribe for more race stories, rivalries, and unforgettable moments from the track. And don't forget to check out our full race coverage and other videos on the channel because the next race could change everything.